Are you ready to dream on? Do you know how to fly high and soar among the clouds? Get ready to live adventurously because the Laura Meeks Show starts now. Listen as Laura lifts you off the ground while teaching you how to fly high. Forget ground level drama and be prepared to confront your dreams head on as she encourages you to navigate towards your North Star and into what just might be the best life you've imagined. Dream on. Live adventurously on the Laura Meeks Show.
It is the day of living adventurously. Can you hear? There I am. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is an interesting time to be doing what we're doing. And I think it's so critical into what we're doing right now, because so many of you guys are out there trying your hardest to hang out with your friend, your family, and your dogs and your animals, and trying to confine yourself to save the world. And this is really important. I'm out here in California. Actually, so is Barbara. We're out here in California, and in our county now, they're actually asking everybody to wear masks everywhere you go. It's getting important. Now, interesting is just a little sideline as we get started. First of all, fear. False evidence appearing real. There's 1,000 other little ones. Barbara, think of another one while I'm talking. There is a lot that you could easily get scared at. And one of the things that I've talked about on radio and on TV is that if you really want to stay sane in this world, limit yourself to 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes of news at night, because honest to gosh, if you sit and watch CNN or news all day, you'll drive yourself into the ground. And we know one of the things that Barbara and I are all about is this idea that you can change your thinking. And yes, there's a lot of interesting challenges right now, and you could drive your thinking purposefully into the ground, or you could change your thinking. That's what we're all about. You can change how you see this whole little thing going on. I had my brother sent me a post just a little while ago on Facebook, and one of the things he said is our mom grew up through the Depression and through World War II, and I mean we think back to World War II when it just like Hitler seemed to be stomping across the Europe and what's going to happen next, and then Pearl Harbor and all these other things are going on. And as a kid, I mean, my mom was 29, 39. She's probably 11, 12 years old during the war when it started. And imagine being 12 years old and you're trying to grapple with this. Will my world ever be the same? The ending of that, in my world, the ending is no. Your world will never be what it was yesterday. But that's the good news, is it doesn't have to be what it was yesterday. It could be something better over here. And yes, when people talk about, I want to get back to the new normal, there's not going to be a normal like you had before, because we didn't have the coronavirus before. And so we're going to live in a new world over there. And that new world is going to be a bountiful, abundant world, but it's going to be a world that has the COVID virus in it. So it's not going to be over there. It's going to be over here. But all of that just to say that in my world, dream on, fly high, live adventurously, dream on. We all have dreams, and the dreams keep going, even in World War II, even in 9/11, even now in the COVID virus. Your dreams are still alive, and we want to harbor those. We want to fly high, do the best we can with what we got. If you have to wear a mask, you got to wear a mask. That's just the way it is. That's what we got now. But you still can fly high. You can live adventurously. And I will say, living adventurously doesn't mean walking around without this. That's stupidity. The adventure is like go out and do stuff. So all of that just to say, welcome to the Laura Meeks Show. I'm so happy that you're here. I have a great friend and a cohort in the coaching world with me, Barbara Stenning. Barbara Stenning, say hi to us out here. There she is. A quick thing, and we're going to start out, Barbara, with some of your past, because as I was reading through your bio, born in England, Kingston, England. Tell me where that is and what that was like. And then you go on to talk about part of your early life was traveling. So give us a little bit of a taste of where you've been, what you've done.
Well, I was born in England. My father was British. My mother was German. They met during the war in Egypt. And my mother escaped Germany and went to what was then called Palestine and lived on a kibbutz. Her parents came to New York, were lucky enough to get out of Germany, my grandparents and her sister. And anyway, my mother hated being on the kibbutz, so she joined the Palestinian wing of the British Army. And she was quite an adventurous soul, just a wonderful human being.
Wow.
And she ended up joining the Palestinian wing of the British Army, as I said, and she got stationed at a camp in Egypt. My father was in the British Army, and he was stationed in the same camp. Well, they fell in love in the middle of the desert, traipsing through minefields and all that. And they ended up getting married in Cairo. And so my childhood was all about seeing pictures of the Sphinx, and the pyramids, and my parents, traipsing through Egypt and all of that. When the war was over, they went back to live in England. And then I was born several years after all of that. Born in England. And then we emigrated to the United States when I was 5. And I grew up in Southern California, in Los Angeles. So, yeah.
I love that path. Well, come on.
Because I heard so much about, because I was exposed to adventure and traveling, and both of my parents were very adventurous, I always had, this desire for seeing the world, and always had this adventurous spirit. So, life went on, and later I couldn't wait to get out of LA, and I moved to Northern California and was educated up there at Berkeley. And I decided to travel.
You're a Berkeley girl?
I'm a Berkeley girl, yeah.
Oh my God.
Believe it or not, right?
Yeah, well,
in disguise.
So give me the years. What, 70s?
Do I have to?
Well, let's pretend it was in the turmoil times of Berkeley.
Yeah, in the turmoil times, not in the early turmoil times, at the very end of the turmoil times. And I was an art major, so I was really involved in the whole creative, political and creative climate of the Bay Area. And so I'm a vestigial remain of the 60s. And, and of course, a lot of my belief systems really came out of that whole introduction to a counterculture. And I was a vegetarian for most of my life. And, I was exposed to a lot of different thinking and unusual thinking at an early age. And so it's really shaped my life. And it's really brought me to where I am today with transformational thinking and wanting to help people. And that's my passion. Really wanting to help people. So
I want to go down that road for a second, because a couple of things. One is Annie and I share something with your parents in that Annie and I met while we were in the military as well. I was in the Air Force flying bombers, and Annie was in the Air Force working in management, and we met at a school.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, so the military, never underestimate the power of military relationships. A lot of interesting things are forged during a crisis like that. The other piece that's important to me, and we're going to turn this towards the coaching that you and I are working in, the environment that we're working in. My tagline, dream on, fly high, live adventurously. One of the things that I've called from all of my internal introspection and working with coaches and mentors is that I somehow gathered an important piece of my life is searching for fun and adventure. That's kind of my daily mantra. It's like, what can we do that'll be fun and different? And you've gone traveling. To me is just like the ultimate adventure. It's like, what's over that hill? What's on the other side of this lake, this ocean? What's in China? What's in? I just want to go see new stuff. And you kind of grew up in an environment like that. I didn't. I grew in. it's interesting how that comes about, because when I was in Minnesota, I almost created it out of the incredible boredom that I was experiencing in Minnesota. So we lived on 8 acres, but both my parents worked. They were gone all the time. My brothers and I were kind of just like lone riders. We learned to be very self-sufficient. We learned how to cook, and we learned how to do everything that we could, because there was like not a lot of other people around. And so when I was laying in a field one day, I watched airplanes flying into Minneapolis, and I thought, you know what? That sounds adventuresome. I mean, that sounds like you get to travel and in style. You know, back in the 70s, people dressed up, and the airports were filled with these gorgeous restaurants and stores. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, if I had to live there versus in the factory, that sounds like a better place to live. And to fly to unknown lands just sounds like adventure. Tell me, how does that quest in you for adventure tie into this living your life and then helping other people live a life that's more adventuresome? I mean, is that part of what you try to do?
No, I'm basically, I think, based on what's going on today, and I really try to help people become more empowered and self-reliant and more confident in making their own decisions and deciding on their own directions. It really has nothing to do with my passions in terms of what I love doing, but that creative adventure spirit you're talking about, I can really relate to that, because I think that it really pertains to what we're dealing with today. Traveling has a lot of uncertainty in it, okay, and some fear. And so therefore, even though we might have the passion to want to go forward with it, there still is always those circumstances that can crop up that are uncertain, that we don't know what's going to happen. And we either can embrace that uncertainty, or fear can crop up and we retreat from it, right? So when uncertainty arises in any of us, right, we have several responses that we can take. And most of us just want it to go away. We just want it to be gone. We want to know exactly what's going to happen. We want to know exactly when this is going to happen, how it's going to look, how it's going to feel. We want it to be predictable. And the thing about having adventure in your life is actually enjoying the process of not knowing a lot of things and discovering how you want it to turn out. And that's part of the excitement of living, really.
Oh, and I wholeheartedly agree. And I agree with you too, in the sense that I take my adventure, my passion, that's what drives me. And part of what drives me into coaching and helping other people is that I think based on especially I'm reading Maslow a lot lately. I do think that in general people do want to grow. I do think people do want to try new things. You know, when we were little kids, we would just do anything and everything. I mean, right? I mean, we'd literally run into traffic if no one stopped us, because wow, what's out there? You know. So
right.
In part of life, we learn to contain ourselves for safety. But in so many ways, I think people start to contain themselves even further. And to me, part of my work is, like you're saying, is to talk to people and say, your world could be bigger. You've kind of pushed yourself in here. Have you thought about, what other things are out there? And to me, a lot of my stories come from my adventures, but only in an effort to say that, hey, you can have more if you can get past this fear. Now, it's interesting when you say predictable, because that's kind of why I started out the way I did, because I do think that there is comfort in predictability. And sadly, in some cases, people will stay, and there's a saying that, people would rather have a known torture than an unknown good. And sometimes the comfort of knowing the current torture it's hard to break out of that to go forward. And I think that's part of the work that you do is to take people and say, it's okay, I'm with you, I'm staying with you, and let's expand a little and stay, because like I say, the world in the future is never going to go back to what we were doing before. I mean, there's always now going to be this COVID virus experience that we're all going to kind of, soon our new normal is going to be see people walking close to you. It's like, I don't know. It's like, no, it's past. I don't know. So reflect on that.
Actually, that's actually what's going on now. I think people are much more conscious of how close people are getting to them and whether they're breathing on them or not. I found myself in a Costco the other day holding my breath when I went past something without a mask on.
Oh, listen.
So, I mean,
the other day when I was hiking, the people come by and
exactly.
Don't breathe. Oh.
So we all have different things that we're doing just for self-preservation, or we're imagining. And, a word that comes up to me that's linked to me a lot with adventure is imagination. So we are always imagining things, and part of our job, Laura, right, as coaches and guides and to inspire people to have a larger life is to realize that our imagination can go in all different directions. And so part of understanding your imagination and using it, you want to use it. It's your creative force you've been given. You want to allow yourself not to let the imagination go wild with doomsday thoughts and thoughts of lack of preservation. And where, for instance, one of the questions that we talked about is, I'm afraid of what's coming next. Well, if you start telling yourself and you allow your thoughts to go in the direction of being afraid of what's coming next, not really even knowing what's coming next. So you're afraid of an invisible force that you don't even know what it is. It's irrational, because basically life is composed of change. Life change is a constant in our lives. We don't even realize it. But if you observe nature, right? Nature shows us, is an illustration. I always advise my clients, one of the most important things to do when you get fearful or when you feel stressed or anxiety prone, which a lot of people are these days, is first of all, breathe, right? Inhale and exhale and try to let go, put your shoulders down. But then also witness nature, either go out in nature or look out your window at it. And observe the fact that night turns to day on a cyclical basis, right?
Well, and here's I'll tie into that. Through all the challenges that America's gone through, not too long ago, we were having a lot of mass shootings. Vegas, not too far from us here in the desert, and other places, and then people are like, oh my God, people are shooting people everywhere. And my advice was, do this. Go out and stand next to your mailbox till you hear a gunshot and then come back in. It's like, I've been out here 2 hours. It's like, see, there's not a lot of gunshots right here. Now I'm not saying that you don't need to be aware of it. But the challenge, and you're absolutely right, and you and I have spent a lot of time. I love the 6 mental faculties. Imagination is one of the tools that we have been given as humans, and it's funny, as a young child, you learn about taste and hearing and sight and all these things, your 5 normal senses, and we have built a world around those 5 senses. But as I talk in my class, your eyesight measures wavelengths that are very specific. I mean, in the land of wave spectrum, there's just a teeny little piece that your ears hear a little bit lower in the spectrum, but the 5 senses that we have just experience just a little bit. And so with 6 mental faculties, imagination being one of them, that is something that you can use as an extra tool. I call it superpower, so that you can experience this. But like a sword, it's got two edges. And like you say, it's very easy. And this is why I say it's very challenging, I think, when people watch the news and think about this, because I want you to reflect on awareness of where your information is coming. If you watch the news and they're talking about, well, the curve is here, now it's going to be here, and soon we're going to be here, and then the hospital, and oh my God, we're going to be. That's using your imagination, because it's not there now. It's like standing by the mailbox. It's not there now. If you walk outside your house, there's not thousands of people dying in the street, but there is a broader picture. But the quest would be then to A, be aware of what you're thinking, and B, turn it, use your power, your thinking power, to turn it to a positive direction rather than negative. Because there's nothing special about pondering, catastrophe, right? So awareness, first of all, you have to be aware that people around you, it's very easy to get on the phone with your best friend and it's like, oh my God, did you hear blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh, I can't take any more of that. Talk to me about awareness. How do you help people become aware of what they're thinking?
Well, there's something that I usually talk about in most sessions with my clients, and that is the TEAR. Your thoughts are the engine of everything in your life. If you look around yourself right now, everything you see in this room that I'm in was a thought in someone's mind before it became a thing. So thoughts become tangible. Thoughts become ideas and become tangible. Or a chair. Somebody invented a chair, the first chair, out of necessity, or masks, or any of these things we're talking about. Yeah. Somebody invented those, but they were a thought first. So TEAR, T-E-A-R, or TEAR, T-E-A-R, thoughts become emotions, become actions, and create results. So if you realize that everything starts with your own thoughts, you can learn to control, or more aptly control, the results in your life. Because the minute you have a thought, let's say it's a thought of fear, or it's a thought of, oh gosh, how's this all going to turn out? Depending on what the thought is, it's going to be different, but maybe in a great way. Like you said, Laura, we might be transitioning into this whole new era of more harmony and just a wonderful world ahead that we never envisioned. Maybe this is a major shakeup. That is my hope. So if we have thoughts of hope and positivity, then our emotions are more relaxed and more nurturing towards ourselves. And then the action we take is more positive for ourselves, and we create a better result for ourselves just on an everyday basis. So if you can remember TEAR, thoughts lead to emotions, lead to actions, lead to results, you can also turn it around. You can take a look at your own life, which is a living testament to the results you've created in your life, right?
Yeah.
Are you seeing me?
Yeah, no, I'm not. Sorry, this is a technical thing. I'm waiting. Believe it or not, we're coming up on a break.
Oh, okay.
And it's funny. You and I talked about this yesterday. The technology of what I'm looking at in my thing is I have a camera in your screen so that I'm looking directly at you, but the chat window is on the other side of my camera. So I'm looking over to see if Zach was telling me it was 3 minutes yet. So we are kind of right at the spot for a break. And so I want to we're going to pause right here and I want to talk about, because you use a different acronym, TEAR. I use the same concept, only I call it WT-BAM. so I'll tell you what, if you're interested, hang on with us, because when I come back, I'll tell you how I've turned TEAR into WT-BAM. I may have to take yours. Yours makes a word. Mine was born out of experience, and so I didn't really have a way to make the acronym quite right. But the same thing I'm talking about, because you do have a choice The other thing I want to remind when we come back from the break is conspiracy. My practitioner that I work with in the spiritual center did a video just the other day on what a conspiracy theory is, that why this is all happening and what a conspiracy is. But it'll surprise you. So hang on, everybody, and we will be right back. When we come back, we're going to talk about W.T. Bam and a conspiracy theory. All right, this is Laura Meeks. Stick with us, Laura Meeks Show. See you soon.
Have you ever wondered how you might feel differently if the books were full of her instead of him? What if your history lesson was filled with powerful women leaders and rulers? As a woman, would you feel more empowered? As a man, would you see women differently? I'm Megan Edge. I'd love for you to join me on my radio show, Playing on the Edge, Radical Change with Ease, with my co-host, Dr. Pat, on Transformation Talk Radio. I hope to see you there.
We remember a time when you could simply form a thought and it would manifest. The harmony was forgotten, but it is returning now. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin on transformationtalkradio.com each second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll take you on adventures through the heart and spirit, exploring who we once were. This intuitive healer studied under the guidance of wolves, learning from their wisdom to master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Visit onetrueself.com.
Yeah, yippee skippy to that, baby. We're not done yet. Some of us are out here to educate and inspire. This year, 2020, is the year we gotta show me the money in the cash flow. I'm Dr. Pat. This is the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By.
Visit thedrpatshow.com. It's time to shake out your money-making truth on Soul Wisdom Abundance with Jennifer Bloom, creating wealth from spiritual health on transformationtalkradio.com. This hit show is more than your roadmap to success. It's your compass to abundance through joy and ease. Jennifer Bloom teaches you about the soul's relationship to money and wealth, and how improving that relationship serves both you and the world. Learn more at jenniferbloom.com.
Living a richly abundant life sound too good to be true? Listen in to Richly Abundant Women with Julie Steelman on transformationtalkradio.com. Embrace a vibrant future of breaking free financially and creating a richly abundant life filled with prosperity and growth. To learn more about Julie Steelman and Richly Abundant Women, visit www.juliesteelman.com.
Hey, how's it going? If it's stressful or just plain exhausting, New Light Living is here to ask, is this the way you want to live? Join me, your intuitive spiritual life coach and host, Ulrika Sullivan, every week on New Light Living. Discover the power of creative tools to start living every day as your ideal dream day. See your life in the new light. To learn more, visit newlightliving.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Laura Meeks. Welcome back to the Laura Meeks Show. We're just after the break, and we've got some exciting stuff coming in this last half hour of the show, so we hang in there with us. We're here in the COVID environment. I got my mask. I'm safe here in my Fly High living studio, so I'm 6 feet from everybody, so I'm okay. We're safe. It is an interesting new world, and so part of what Barbara and I are talking about today is this challenge of the fact that there is stuff going on. Now, what's interesting to me is there's always stuff going on. I mean, everybody has stuff in their life, but all of a sudden, this COVID thing is something that we're sharing, and it's much more dramatic because people can die from this, and so all of a sudden we're kind of focused on this. But Barbara, as you were saying earlier, a lot of this is perspective, is how we are looking at what's happening and then using the power. And this is kind of where Barbara and I are coming from, using the power of your mind to form your reality. Now, Barbara, right before the break, you were going to talk, you talked about thoughts leading to emotions, leading to actions, leading to reality or results. But you were talking about how you might reverse that. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So if you look at your life today, those are the results you created. Okay. And where you are today is a result you created by the actions you took in your life, the emotions that created those actions, and then initially the driver, the engine, the thoughts you've had throughout your life. So that's why in the coaching, I'm sure you do this too, Laura, we go back initially and look at the messages you received growing up. We examine your mindset. We see how, you could change install a new mindset, like a new operating system, right? Like we do on our computers or our phones. And then how you can move forward in a more productive manner without a lot of those old voices going. And a lot of our conclusions, in other words, the results, are just based on the thoughts that we have and all the messages in our little heads that are telling us various different things, either defeating, limiting, or expansive. Yeah.
Well, and to me, one of the really epiphany moments, and I've had a number of epiphany moments. It's like, whoa, what's going on? Is this thought, and it's interesting because as you become aware, we were talking earlier about awareness. By far and away, you can't change your thoughts until you're aware of your thoughts. So a lot of what we work on early is can you let's think about what we're thinking about, because you're absolutely right. When you're born, you have parents that are giving you all these new, what I call little tapes running in your head, little programs are programmed into your head. I often use in my seminar, money doesn't grow on trees. Patience is a virtue. And all of these things are, people don't realize that, oh my God, we all know those. Yes, of course we all know those, because we had, all the parents in my generation were my parents and their parents all learned the same thing. They passed it on to us. And then then the question is, are you just blindly passing that on, or are you thinking about what that is? And your TEAR, thoughts lead eventually to results, or if conversely you want to look at your results. Now, that comes because of your thinking, and there's so many people. And this is part of the challenge. There are a lot of people right now that are saying, "I didn't invent COVID. That's happening to me. The God is throwing this on me, and I'm just reacting to that." And I do think that there is a huge portion of our world that does enter into this world, and they have these programs in their head that say just react. Stuff happens and then you react, and then more stuff happens and then you react. When in reality, I think one of the things, the epiphany moments in my life, one of the things is that, whoa, wait a second, I'm creating. I'm not reacting. I'm creating this. And so there's a lot of people, a lot of people that are going to say, whoa, I didn't make this. My life is all screwed up. My parents were bad. I had alcoholic, and then all this stuff happened to me. It's not my fault. And there's nothing I can do. I'm just going to react. And I think part of my big world is like, oh my God, if I can just shake you out of that tree and show you that down here, you can actually change your world. That's where, so this COVID thing is here, yes, but how we react to that.
That's right.
Is so important.
And some people are reacting in amazing ways. The fact is that we are going to create, no matter what we do, we create a day of our life every day we wake up, right? We have the option and we have the opportunity to create any kind of day we want when you really think about it. In the old days, we look at our calendar and we'd have meetings and appointments and things like that to go to. Now we look and I write my Zoom appointments in there every day. Zoom here and Zoom there and free conference call here and all that kind of stuff. So we create our own day based on our own priorities. So we have the ability to create. And so right now, this is a wonderful, in some ways, it is an opportunity. It's a break to be creative and to do something with our life that we've wanted to get to for a long time, because we're all so busy running around doing our lives and working and, striving and keeping busy, depending on what your time of life is. And we actually have a break now to be able to make some space to do creative things. And there's all these wonderful inspirational stories in the news and online about people who are doing not only great things for themselves, but they're doing great things for others. They're stepping out, volunteering, giving free aid, bringing masks, making masks, like you told me yesterday, doing things that they never would have thought they could do. But through necessity, they found a niche. And some people are creating new, very successful businesses right now because they've seen there's a need. So it's really up to us to make choices about how we want to use our creative energy, because we all have it. Some people are becoming really good cooks, and other people are drinking too much. I don't know. It just depends on what turns you on and how you want to fill that time, right?
Yeah, well, and absolutely. And, one of the things I was telling you about, Cheryl Guest, who is a practitioner I work with, did a video the other day, and she said, there's a conspiracy. There's a big conspiracy out there. And I can just see everybody's mind going, it's the government or the Chinese people invented this and they sent it over here, and then, conspiracy. And she goes, no, what if the conspiracy is, this is Spirit's way of getting us all together? That the conspiracy is we were out in the ozone thinking we were all separate, that we all had different governments and different borders and different things. And in reality, the conspiracy is Spirit came down to say, wait a sec, guys, so you're getting a little off to the side here. Let me show you how closely related you all are. Because the virus doesn't care whether you're rich or poor, black or white, or where your border is or what. It anybody and everybody, which is also bringing us together. And I will wholeheartedly agree with you that this is you do create your day. I know for some people, and truthfully, I would say that most people that are listening to us right now are probably past that piece. But there may be some people out there that don't quite understand how you are creating your day every day. But you're absolutely right. You could watch TV and just be shaking that this whole world is going to collapse. Everything is going to go down, or you can be like a lot of people, as you were saying, people are stepping up out in Palm Desert and over in Palm Springs. Palm Desert has a group that I came across, the Coachella Valley Mask Makers, and you can look them up on Facebook if you're out in our area. And they have a wonderful little kit of materials that you can make 10 face masks for using just a glue gun. You don't have to sew anything. You can just glue it all together. And it's very effective, but it's a chance for you to help those people that are actually in the front lines working, or people that are in senior centers or places where they don't have a lot of masks. This is a chance for you to do something to change the picture here, right? Versus just going, I can't do anything. Oh my God, I just hope I don't get it. It's like when there are other people that are going, hey, what can I do? I mean, yes, I'm here, but they invented Zoom and we can communicate. Even on the news stations, they're all zooming into that. But that is, and I'll go. Part of that is imagination. Can you imagine what a great world will be? Because we went through the Depression, went through the war, went through 9/11, we've been through SARS. Humans will continue to exist. And so what do you want to be when you're over there. It's 6
Right.
months, a year from now. You get to choose that. I want to go back to one other thing that you were saying too, was thoughts, emotions, actions, reality. One of the things that we were talking about in the break is one of the things I learned when I transitioned from Lawrence to Laura was there was a group of people born male but realized that they're transgender. And in the baby boomer era, those men were very indoctrinated into the fact that you had to protect people, and out of that and some of the heavy religion that was there, they really felt like this was their curse. And so a lot of times when I'm giving that seminar, Lawrence to Laura seminar, to talk about the transformation that I made, part of what I explain is that your words, so I use the acronym WTBAM, which doesn't make, I don't know what that is. That's a military thing, I guess. But in my world, I said this: words turn to thoughts. If you say a lot of words, if you say the words over and over again, they become thoughts. Those thoughts, if you think of a lot, become a belief. And those beliefs then create your actions, and your actions create your world. So if for the people that started over here with my life is cursed, this transgender thing is a curse, then they thought that, they believed that, so they walk around believing that it's a curse. And then when people interact with them, they get really angry and battly, and it becomes a curse, and then they're not accepted, and then they go, see, it is a curse, and it starts all over again. And in my life, and Annie's in my life, and for those that haven't and don't know, Annie and I have been married 34 years. We transitioned together as a family. But we started with different words. We started with, this was a blessing. Somehow, some way, I don't know why we knew this, but somehow, some way, this is a blessing. We thought it was a blessing. We believed it was a blessing. We reacted as if it was a blessing, and people accepted us and said, see, it's a blessing. So it's good. Yeah. So in essence, the lesson is that choose your words carefully. Yes, this is not the COVID disaster. This is a COVID experience. Yeah. And there's good. If you believe there's good that can come out of this, then good will come out the other end. That's basically what you're saying.
And the good stories are that we're all going through this together. And I've noticed that all of the news media is using, we're in this together, we're in this together. That was a tagline I used for a client 2 years ago in their ad campaign. It makes me laugh whenever I hear it. But it's so wonderful that we are all in this together. And one of the ways that I just want to talk, if you don't mind, kind of move off into fear, because so many people are, the media creates a lot of fear in us, giving us these numbers, and it's coming here and it's coming there, and then you got to be more careful about this. So what I wanted to do is just say that fear comes from a lack of control. Fear comes from not knowing, from, as I said, indecision. Not knowing what the outcome is going to be. So we can take steps in little ways in our own life. And I know almost everybody I know is doing these things because we're at home, staying in place. You can do things that are in your control. So you can clean out your closets, you can sort things, you can go into your pantry and throw things away that are outdated, clean out your refrigerators, select healthy foods. You can start just working on things that you feel are in your control. Okay.
Oh, now I want a quick interjection. Because when you said this, I just die laughing. So you said clean out your pantry, right? So we're going through, and I'm there's certain soups that I like, and I kind of ate up all my favorites, and then there was this one can of like Tuscan something soup, and I opened it up and I was like, boy, I don't know, that doesn't smell like Tuscan soup. And I'd look on the bottom, the date was like 2017.
Oh no!
It's like, oh my God, this can has been in my pantry for 3 years or something.
Oh, see, that's what happens because you never had time to look at the expiration dates.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we have nothing but time now, so now is a great time. So as you're thinking about your life and you want to get it more, quote, in control, so you're not spiraling into anxiety or fear. Another way to do it is to look back at your life and review all of the things that seemed fearful to you as you went through them. Even as a child, learning to walk, learning to speak, learning to read, learning to do public speaking, learning to train for a job, learning to buy a house, all the things we go through as we get older. And take a look back. And we could now, as being in this pandemic, living in it, we can do what Queen Elizabeth said. She spoke from the future, and I loved her quote, if I could read it.
Yeah.
She spoke about when we look back, how we could feel about our own behavior, which inspires hopefully everybody listening and all of us to behave in a manner that we will be proud of. She said, I hope in the years to come, everyone will be able to take pride in how they responded to this challenge. And those who come after us will say that this generation, those of us experiencing this now, were as strong as any generation. So let's make history together, because really what we're doing right now is coping with something that's never been coped with before globally. And we are experiencing it, just like our parents or grandparents experienced World War II. We somehow can't empathize with it, but they knew how it felt to be in constant peril and the unknown, just like we're feeling. And a lot of us in our little quiet, secret places inside feel uncontrollable too. So if we can take that posture, I loved it that she came out and said that. If we had that kind of leadership, it would be wonderful.
Yeah. Well, and people do step up, and I've seen numbers of places, and I love what you're talking about, because again, that's, if we go back to our thoughts, can I create a me that reacts to this in a way that I will feel good over here? Annie and I have been making masks, and Annie knows how to sew, and so she's been sewing all these gowns for the hospital, because it's something she can do, and it makes it, she's got time to do this. And that's one of 10 million ways that you can ask yourself, who am I in this? Now, I talked to my daughter yesterday, and she said, well, Dad, we've never done this before, and I was like, exactly, that the world, we're not going to get another World War II exactly. It starts with Pearl Harbor and Hitler. We're not going to do that. In the military, one of the things we had in my military career, one of the things that we always talked about as leaders in the military is that the trap is to plan for the war you just fought, because it will never be that war. We're not going to fight a Vietnam again, so we're not going to need those kind of helicopters and those other things. We're going to fight a new war. So everything that happens in the world happens to help us change ourselves into better beings.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be new. It's kind of like you said, it's going to be new. That's the adventure. So then the perspective, if you use your imagination to imagine what a good outcome would be and who you want to be, and like the Queen said, when you look back, can you craft up a world that you like? One other thing I want to say, because I love what you're saying. Pick something, do something, even if it's cleaning out your pantry. One of the things that I like to assign people to do, which I think is it was hugely helpful to me, and I think to a lot of my clients, is that I like butcher paper. I went to Walmart and got just like a roll of butcher paper, and I cut off like a 4-foot strip and paste it to the wall. And then I have a bunch of markers, and all I do is I just, as I'm walking around, I try to remember things that were fun or joyful or made me happy from birth to now. Now I got to stretch, so I got a lot of material to work with. So I got a lot of butcher paper on the wall. But it's interesting. Canoeing with my kids when they were in high school, riding my bike, hiking in Yosemite, just simple things, but it's an amazing thing, because when you're dealing with this pandemic and you're thinking, oh my God, this is over, you realize that it's not huge things that make you happy. It's a series of all these little things. being grateful. I've walked my dogs down to the park is fun. I mean, they do crazy things on the walk, but that's just a thing that we do during the day that's fun and joyful. And I think if you start to put those joyful thoughts in your head, it'll block out some of these, oh my God, pandemic's going to kill me thoughts.
Exactly. I love it that you brought out gratitude, because we have time now to really smell the roses, so to speak. We have time to notice things happening. And also, if you start, as I went back to the beginning of what we talked about, if you start really observing nature, I have an orchid plant in my house someone gave me
bless your heart.
Months ago in November. Well, anyway, I was going to throw it away after the blooms came in. A girlfriend of mine said to me, why don't you just keep watering it and see what happens? So I thought, you know what, even though it looks dead, yeah, I will. And I have like 5 or 6 beautiful new flowers. Now, I just watered it the other day, and there's a 3rd generation of little blooms coming out.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. See, regeneration.
Yeah,
we're the same.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart. I'm a known killer of orchids.
Well, I didn't try to make it happen. It just happened on its own. It had its own intelligence to sprout again. Yeah. So we're the same way.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that. I got a post from my office manager who has since retired. She lives out in the country, and she said, well, it's been raining over here in Banning for a couple of days. And so one of the things I wanted to do was go out and see all the green, because, typically that whole hill mountainside is brown, but it's been raining enough that it's starting to turn green. So she went out to see green, and she thought, well, with her camera on her phone, she said, it doesn't seem to display all the colors that I'm really seeing, only to have a little yellow canary right here. And she got a picture of this yellow canary against the green background.
Oh.
See, nature will provide the color.
Beautiful. And right now, we woke up after that really hard rain last night. It's a gorgeous day today. I mean, we've got clouds and blue skies, and it just, every morning it's beautiful outside my window when I wake up, and I really notice it. So being grateful for what you have, focus on the good that's going on in your own life right now. Focus on the fact that you have shelter, you have people that love you, you have the capacity to be creative today.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, do you have a gratitude practice? I mean, I've been taught to write down my gratitude daily. I have I don't know if I have a sheet that I got from Mary Morrissey at Alpha Omega, which I absolutely love. And it starts with 5 lines of I'm grateful for, and then 5 lines of I'm proud of myself for.
Love it.
And then the 6 things I'm going to do today. That's how I start my day.
That's wonderful.
Which again puts gratitude. Hey, I have a house over my head. I'm still breathing. It's very challenging. I think for a lot of people, I've got a number of friends who are challenged economically, and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But hey, sit back. I'm still breathing. The house is still here. The electricity is still on. We're right now. We're okay. One last thought, then we gotta go.
I just had one thing I wanted to say real quick. A friend of mine who inspires me and who I respect said the other day, I'm excited to see how the universe works this out. And if we can go with that attitude, we're gonna win.
Well, and I'll take that all the way back around to what we started with is that this is a chance for you, the listener, to decide what you want the future to be. And it's going to start with your words. The future is going to be fine. I'm okay. We will overcome, if you like those words. That'll change your thoughts. That'll change your actions, and you'll get a different outcome. So think positive thoughts.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Barbara, it's been a pleasure having you on. As we discussed before, we will do this again. Because we could talk for hours. We barely scratched the scratch of what we were going to talk about today.
Thank you.
So, okay, thanks so much. And for everybody, thanks for coming to the Laura Meeks Show. We will see you in 2 weeks here at noon on Wednesday. That's where we dream on, fly high, and live adventurously. That's how we do it here at the Laura Meeks Show. Have a great day.
You've been listening to The Laura Meeks Show. Dream on, fly high, live adventurously on Transformation Talk Radio. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you'll join us next month as Laura helps you find your unique gifts so you can bring them to the world. For more information on Laura Meeks or to listen to past shows, visit her website at flyhighliving.com. Check out her hit Dream On 12-week course, where you get the personal attention you need to fly high in your new life.